Welcome to EPIC. EPIC stands for Empowering Parents in Influencing Their Children. My name is Justin Sinceri. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a mental health clinician for Stockton Unified School District. I work in the Mental Health and Behavioral Support Services Department, and I'm also a parent. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. So this isn't just information that I give to SUSD parents, but it's also parenting skills and information that I use in my own home. EPIC is typically a 4-week course offered to all parents of SUSD at no cost through the Mental Health and Behavior Support Services Department. It's based on the teachings of the Parent Project, and the Parent Project is an absolutely massive parenting curriculum. It's fantastic. I was trained in that about 12 years ago. It's really, really good, but it's absolutely massive. It's like 10 to 16 weeks, and every week is 2 or 3 hours. So it's a huge commitment. So what I did was I took what I thought was the most important, the essentials of the Parent Project. I took those and put them into the 4-week course that we call EPIC through Stockton Unified School District. This course, this series, is designed to help parents effectively work with their strong-willed children and teens. It's for any age group, but really we break it down into 5 to 10-year-olds and 11 to 18-year-olds. The vast majority of what we go over applies to both age groups. When it comes to consequences, that's when it starts to look a lot different. But for the most part, everything applies to both of those age groups. The first thing to look at is what a strong-willed child is versus a compliant child. And if you've got a strong-willed one, you probably already know. You're probably already thinking, oh yeah, I know there's a difference there. So which of these words best describes your child? Easygoing, eager to please, follows the rules, calm, stubborn, challenging, defiant, or frustrating. So just take a moment in your head. Which of those best describes your child? And you can pick more than one. If you've got 3 or more words in the bottom half, you probably have a strong-willed child. Congratulations. And you're not alone. A lot of us have those kids. My 10-year-old daughter, she is definitely a strong-willed child. So that would be more stubborn, more challenging, more defiant, more frustrating. If that describes your kid, yeah, you've got a strong-willed child. I've heard that more compliant children exist. I don't think I've ever met one of these children, but I hear that they're out there. Having a strong-willed child is more frustrating for parents, but this is a really, really good personality quality. And in life in general, this can be a huge plus. This is a very good thing. Strong-willed people, they make their own rules. They don't give in to peer pressure easily. They need things to make sense. They create rather than follow. They're innovators. They run or even own their own businesses. Like, it's a huge positive in life to be strong-willed, as long as that strong-willedness is pointed in the right direction, basically. The challenge for us as parents is to learn how to raise a strong-willed child. It's a lot different than more compliant child. Just like using American car parts on an import car wouldn't really work out. So same thing for us as parents. We have to learn tools specifically for a strong-willed child. I think that what we go over in this course is good for anyone, for a compliant or a strong-willed child, but it's specifically for strong-willed children. Here we got some pictures of what a strong-willed kid or teen or young adult could look like. It's within them. These kids, these strong-willed personalities or character traits, seriously, they're a big plus in life. Might not feel like it, but they are. Let's look at how kids generally think and act. Not just strong-willed kids, but just in general how kids think and act. Kids generally are more highly impulsive, right? Generally, they think about themselves first, and they're quick to get angry, right? I mean, for the most part. This isn't because they're bad, it's because they're kids. It's just how they are for now. Our parenting interventions need to be built for children, not for adults. The way we think and the way we understand responsibility and time, the way we think, the way we feel is different than a child's. So these interventions that we use, they have to be built for kids, not for adults. So that's how kids typically, generally are. Strong-willed kids in particular are even more impulsive and even more emotional. Like this individual right here got his head stuck in the chair, and now there's 4 adults being paid to get him out of a chair. But there was no thought put into this. There was an idea and there was action. That was about it. He didn't really plan this out whatsoever. It just seemed like a good idea, so he did it. The next thing we have to learn about is influence versus control. So think back to a time when you were a kid and you broke a house rule. And I asked this in every single one of my parenting groups, and none of us were completely innocent. We all broke a rule. So let yourself think back and remember a rule that you broke. It could be coming home after curfew. It could be something really serious like doing drugs, swearing, hitting, having a boyfriend or girlfriend even though you weren't supposed to. Think about the moment you decided to break that rule. Got one? Did your parents have control over you? Or did you make your own choice? Now, of course, they didn't have control over you, right? If they had control over you, you wouldn't have made that choice, right? Now, a lot of the parents will say, I made my own choice, but my parents definitely responded, and I agree. But we're talking about the choice. Did you make your own choice? Or did they somehow have control over you and your ability to make that choice? Now think about your children and the last time they broke a house rule. Take a moment to think about that. What was the house rule that they broke? You could probably already see where I'm going with this. When they broke that house rule, were you controlling them? Or did you simply react to what they were doing or what they already did? You didn't control them, right? If you had control over them, they wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have broken that rule. All we do as parents, or part of what we do as parents, is that we react to the choice that they already made. We don't control our children. Kids don't come with knobs or dials to increase their amount of listening or obedience. There's no mute button on children. And there aren't any other buttons to make them stay seated in school, stop throwing tantrums, or to get along with their siblings. They make their own choices just like we do, just like when you were a kid. So I'm sorry to give you the bad news, but you don't have control over your child. And I don't have control over my children either. This idea can be extremely anxiety producing, but set that aside for a moment. Set aside your emotional reaction and just think about it. Kids make their own choices just like we do. And just like we all did when we broke the rules when we were kids. Our parents didn't control us either. They just responded to the choices that we already made. If you had control over your child, I don't know if you'd be watching this right now. And if your parents controlled you, you wouldn't have broken that house rule. And a lot of parents will say, well, I didn't have rules when I was growing up. I just kind of did my own thing. So fair enough. Did you break a school rule even though you knew it was wrong to do that thing? Did you disobey a principal or a teacher? When you broke those rules, did those school principals or teachers have control over you, or did you make your own choice? It's the same thing. We don't control our children. If it breathes, you don't control it. But the good news is you have complete control over everything else in your home. You bought it, you pay for it, it's under your name, it's yours. And if you didn't buy it, they're using your electricity to charge it, or your Wi-Fi, or your cable, or they're storing whatever might be theirs in your home. So even if they get a gift from somebody, they're storing it in your home. So ultimately, you do have control over everything in the house. If it breathes, you don't control it. If it doesn't breathe, it's ultimately yours. So here's some examples. All things that we buy for kids, or we pay for the Wi-Fi, or we store it in our house, or it's charged into the electricity that we pay for. So we don't have control, but we do have influence. We have lots and lots of influence, even more than their friends do. Influence means that we recognize our children make their own choices, and they have to deal with the consequences of those choices, but we can have an impact on the choices they make and also on the consequences to those choices. So the way I look at it is the moment of the decision, we don't control that, but we can definitely influence the decision that they make. And after the decision's made, we can follow through with some sort of consequence, positive or negative, to influence the next time they make the choice. And we have 4 ways of influencing that are all very powerful. Number 1 is love. Number 2 is praise. Number 3 is positive consequences. And number 4 is negative consequences. In this video, we'll talk about 1, 2, and 3. Number 4 is going to be for next time. There's a reason why I always do negative consequences after 1, 2, and 3. And that's because I think a lot of times parents come to these groups or seek out these resources and they just want to know, how do I discipline my kid better? And I get it. And discipline is important, but it's not as important as love, praise, and positive consequences. So we focus on those 3 first and hopefully lay down a nice solid foundation there. And then if we need to, then we do the negative consequences. But I just don't want parents to come in looking for those discipline techniques and then to not do steps 1, 2, and 3. Love. This is the most important section of this course. If you were only to get one thing out of these videos, this should be it. This is it. Everything that we do for our kids is built upon the foundation of love. If you don't have a strong foundation, the other changes you try to make will probably fail. And 2 more things about love before we get rolling. I acknowledge just right off the bat that you may not have received this stuff from your parents growing up. So this might be very new. It might be very uncomfortable. However, it's still very important. So whether or not you got it growing up, you do love your kids. I have no doubt about that. You wouldn't be watching this if you didn't. So this is simply how to communicate that to them in a way that they will understand. And the second piece here is that just to kind of really drill down on how important the love piece of it is, I used to make it a habit to ask all my clients if they feel their parents' love. And I don't ask that in question anymore because it's kind of become predictable. I would ask, do you feel your parents' love? And they would, 99% of the time, they would say, I know my parents love me. I know my parents love me. And I would say, I know you know it, but do you feel it? And again, 99% of the time, they would say, no. And the easiest thing, if you really want to find out about whether or not you're communicating your love, just ask them. You can literally just ask them, hey, do you feel how much I love you? And I've asked this to my kids. Every now and then I'll bring it up because I want them to know it's okay to talk about this stuff. But I'll ask, like, do you feel how much I love you? And they'll say, yeah, I know, Daddy, I know. I'm like, I know you know it, but do you feel it? And my daughter, she's the 10-year-old, she'll say, yeah, Daddy, I feel it. And I'll say, like, no, but really, like, but do you really feel how intense, like, I love the heck out of you, do you feel it? And she'll smile and say, yeah, I feel it. So I just ask them, and it might feel a little uncomfortable, but that's a great way to find out, and it's a great way to make it okay to talk about. So mental health and having that loving, safe connection with your parents they go hand in hand. It's extremely important. It is really, love is the foundation for everything. So it's the most important section of this course. If you were to get only one thing out of all of this, this should be it. Okay, love, this should be it. Everything that we do for our kids is built upon the foundation of love. If you don't have a strong foundation, the other things you try to make will probably fail. That's why, again, I don't want people rushing to just start doing some new discipline techniques. If you just start doing discipline without having the love piece, the foundation there, it's not going to help. It doesn't go anywhere. And I've seen that just throughout the years, that parents who focus on negative consequences or punishments or discipline without having the foundation of love, that it just doesn't help. How do you express love to your child now? How do you express love to your child currently? I'm going to go into some specifics, but just in general, how do you express love to your child? Just kind of take a mental second here to think about that. So all these ways that you thought of and more, all these come from love, but they are not necessarily experienced as love by your child. Like, let's just be honest. Some kids are spoiled and they expect you to buy them things. And it's our job also to provide food and housing for them. So Yeah, it comes from love, but do they experience it as love? And we have to express love in a way that our children understand. Remember, I said children and adults don't think and feel the same way. So we have to express love in a way that kids are going to understand, that our kids will understand. So effectively expressing love is the first way to influence your child. And there are 4 ways that children will experience this love. Number 1, just say it. Do you know how much I love you? I can't believe how much I love you. I love you so much. Just like that. I mean, I know it sounds corny and super simple, but it goes a long way. It's extremely important, extremely important. And again, I know not everyone got this growing up, but your kids need it. Just like you did when you were a kid. Just like we all did. We all needed it. And so it's very important we say it to our kids. The second way to express love in a way that our children will understand is to write it down. And again, I know it seems super corny, but it's good. If you can't say it out loud, then maybe writing it down would be safer for you. And be creative. Draw a picture to go along with it. Hide the note in your child's backpack, in their bathroom, or in their lunch. Create a mailbox out of a shoebox, just something just for them. Tape an empty envelope to your child's door and put notes into it. Anywhere it's going to be a surprise. So if you can't say it out loud, then writing it down might be a really good option for you. These are you don't have to be this artsy and craftsy with it. You can just use a shoebox you have lying around. Plain old envelope, draw a heart on it. It's very simple. You can do this. The third way we can express love so children understand it is through physical affection. And again, you may not have gotten this growing up, but here's how you do it. Hugs, kisses, holding hands, high fives, just sitting close to them. With something like physical affection, it's hard to mistake that as anything but love. So say it out loud, write it down, or show it physically. One of those 3 might feel safer for you than the other ones. And the 4th way is through play. Kids use play as a way to express themselves, but also as a way to practice life skills and build relationships. If you can play with your child, they will feel more connected to you and feel loved. But you actually have to play. You're not allowed to be on your cell phone or watch TV. Pay attention to your children, use your imagination, be silly, and actually have fun. Playing can be physical like soccer or basketball. Play can also be reading a book, coloring, playing with toys, or building with Lego. But let's take it a step further. Play can actually even be doing chores. If you're connected with your kid and socializing and having a good time with it and working together, then chores might actually be play in a way. It might not be fun, but if you're working on something together and you're using some energy and you're connected and you're safe, I'll count that as play. Now, that doesn't mean that you just work all the time and you're set. I think it is important to balance that work with actual fun kid play as well. No matter how you play, the most important thing is to put all of your attention into it and actually have fun. So if you can't say it out loud, write it down, or use physical affection, then play might be the best route for you. I know when I play with my kids, we play hard. Like we run around the house, we yell, we scream, we throw pillows at each other. It gets pretty intense. We also play baseball outside. We do puzzles. We do board games. We do video games. We do a lot of stuff. But for both my kids, when they were super young, and even now, actually, as they age, when we play, they have stopped and they'll give me a hug and they'll say, "I love you too, Daddy." Even though I didn't say it with my words, but I say it in the moment through play. And they feel it. They feel the love. They feel the connection. Every day. So pick one or more of these 4 ways to express love and do it daily. Every day, okay? It's very important we express love daily to our kids, especially the strong-willed ones. The strong-willed kiddos, they seem to need that connection and that reassurance with safe parents. They seem to need that more often, so daily, every single day, okay? But not as part of a routine. Saying as part of a routine is fine. Like, I love you, have a great day at school. Like, that's a routine, right? You say it when you drop them off. But really, I want you to say it when you feel it. A routine is fine. Hey, good night, love you, fine. But also when you feel it, just spontaneously as you're feeling it. And again, I know you may not have gotten this from your family, but your kids need it. All kids need it. Mine need it. And we needed it when we were kids too. So which of these do you think your child will experience as love? Now that's one question. But the other question is, which of these do you actually feel comfortable doing? Do you feel comfortable saying it, writing it, showing it physically, or showing it through play? Which of those feels best for you? And I would actually lean toward whatever feels the safest for you, do that one. Even if it's not the best fit for your child, it has to come across from you as genuine. So if playing is the way that works for your kid, but you know that is not going to work for you, I would lean toward picking one of the other three. It has to be genuine from you, and they'll definitely feel it. All right, we have 2 more ways to influence our children. Number 2 is praise, and number 3 is positive consequences. After laying a solid foundation of love, the next type of influence is through positivity, praise, and positive consequences. Again, many of us may not have been raised in a home with positivity. So these might be a challenge to use in your own home. The second way to influence your children is through praise. Praise is simply expressing what you approve of or admire about your children. It's real simple. Nothing super complex about it, but we'll drill down a little bit further here. Praise can come in different forms. It could be catching them doing something right, like, hey, great job doing some reading, way to go. I know it's going to sound corny, but that's the way it sounds. Praise can also be characteristics about who they are as a person, like they're funny, or they try really hard, or they're super caring. So who they are as a person, you can praise them for that. You can praise them for how they impact you on a personal level, like if you feel a lot of love, or if you feel a lot of connection, or if you feel, like humor along with them when they say something funny, like they're affecting you on a personal level. So you can praise them for that and just point out. It would be something like, I feel really proud of you when I see how much effort you put into your schooling. That's how they affect you. So you could say that. And that would bring us to the next one, which is praising them for their effort. Getting the A or getting the gold trophy or whatever it is, that's fantastic. But even if they don't get the highest level of success, the effort they put into things is, in my opinion, more important. Success will come, but the effort has to come first. So we want to notice that effort when they don't give up, or even when they don't want to do something, but they do it anyways. We want to praise them for that effort. Effort is huge. We have to be able to have the tolerance to deal with things we don't want to do, but do it anyways. And to also not give up on things that are important to us and keep going. So praise the effort. But we also do want to praise their successes. That might be the A, it might be an A-, it might be a B+, whatever it is, whatever success looks like. Make sure you praise them for that. They did accomplish something, and it does make you feel proud, right? So praise them for their effort, for their success, and how that impacts you personally. You can do that all at once. What are some things that you can praise your child for? Pause it here if you need to. Well, I really want to think about this, like specifically, what can you praise your child for? Positive consequences. The third way to influence your child is through positive consequences. Remember, we said early on that you have control over all of the stuff in the house. If it doesn't breathe, you control it. A positive consequence is when they can earn access to the things you have control over after they do homework or a chore, something like that. It sounds like this. Yes, you can absolutely watch TV after your homework is done. Or you may definitely go outside to play after you clear the table. Positive consequences don't require that you buy anything at all. You use what you already have control over. Video games, bikes, toys in the house, all the stuff that you already have control over, they earn those things. You don't buy anything new. It's very important that you are consistent with the use of positive consequences. So if you set the expectation that they complete their homework before watching TV when they get home, you need to enforce that daily. If there's one day where they can watch TV first, they're going to expect that the next day, and you're just going to make it more difficult for yourself. So be consistent every day. Something like doing homework, and then you can have the fun stuff. The way that I look at this is, if we're honest, Kids don't want to do homework. They don't want to do chores. We want them to. As adults, we want them to. It's important to us, but for them, it's not. But what is important to them is the stuff that we have control over. They want access to the stuff that's ours. All the stuff that doesn't breathe, they want those things, but that's what we have control over. So really, in my mind, it's a trade. I will give you access to the things that you want if you do the stuff that you don't want to do that's important to me. So if you do homework, you can have access to the stuff I have control over. If you do your chores, which you don't want to do, you can have access to the stuff that I have control over. It's just a trade. What are some positive consequences that your child can earn? And what do they need to do to earn them? So again, pause it here, and I really want you to think about this and brainstorm. What do they want, and what do you want them to do? So what positive consequences can they earn, and what do they need to do to earn them? I hope you enjoyed this first segment of Epic. What was the most helpful for you? Take a second just to kind of notice what was the most helpful for you. But also, what do you need to grow in? So from what we talked about, what do you need to grow in? And I would really recommend, just as a homework assignment, like focus on that area. So if love is something you have to grow in, that's the most important thing. Do that immediately. And I know you love your kids already, but are you communicating that every day? And if you are you communicating it in a way that they understand? So if you have to express love daily, do that. If you have to do it in a new way, do that. If you need to grow and do some new praise, do that. And if you need to set some new structure with how they're earning the privileges in the home, start doing some positive consequences, set that up, and start being consistent, okay? Thank you for joining me in this first segment. In the next one, we're going to go into negative consequences.